So wait to gesticulate. We're going to do the notes for irregular verbs and infinitives. Possum, possa, potui. There's no fourth principal part. The X is just to say there's no fourth principal part, okay? So this verb's basic meaning is to be able. Possa, the infinitive, is also irregular. It doesn't end in RE, but that's what means to be able. I am able, to be able, and then potui, I have been able. So we're going to do the present tense first, and this should look familiar. It's basically you're putting the letters POS or POT in front of sum, s, sumus, estis, sunt. So start writing. Possum, I am able. Potes, you are able. Potest, he, she, or it is able. Possumus, we are able. Potestus, you all are able. Possunt, they are able. Okay, so if you look, change colors, you have sum, est, sumus, estis, sunt. Just right at the end of the word with POS or POT in front of it. If the sum, if it's it's a form that starts with an S, you put POS in front of it. If it's a form that starts with an E, you put POT in front of it. And there you go. Learn them. The imperfect form is also going to use the imperfect form of the verb to be. So, I'll keep it red. Poteram, I was able. Poteras, you were able. Potera, he, she, or it was able. Poteramus, we were able. Poteratus, you all were able. Poterant, they were able. Now you have to memorize these. Put them on flashcards, stick them into Quizlet, put them in Memorize, do something so that you can memorize these forms. All of these irregular verbs, they are just something you have to memorize, and you have to be able to recognize all of the forms. For the perfect tense is actually formed regularly. You go to the third principal part, you drop the I. Po2 is your perfect tense. And then you add the ESDA. So you're going to have to be able to recognize that Po2 and then the perfect ending as being a perfect tense word and translate it as has been, have been, it's able, has been able, have been able, etc. Now we're going to switch to wolo. Wolo, wello, wolui. Again, no fourth principal part of an irregular infinitive is to want. So, it's very irregular. Again, you just have to memorize it. Wolo, wis, wolt, wolamus, woltus, wolant. Okay? So, I want, you want, he, she, or it wants. We want. You all want. They want. Okay. Imperfect tense is not exactly regular, but it is easily identifiable because it still has the bomba spot. So you just have to use wole and then put your imperfect tense endings on it. So wola bomb, I was wanting, which usually in English we do just translate as I wanted, but for our purposes right now, we're going to use was or were. Wola boss, you were wanting. Wola bot, he, she, or it was wanting. Wola-bamas, we were wanting. Wole-batis, you all were wanting. Wole-bant, they were wanting. Okay, so has the wole, the BA, it's pretty easy to recognize, but again, you have to memorize it. Flip to the next page. Oh, whoops, it's already there for you. Like a race. All right. Nolo, nola, noli, also irregular infinitive, doesn't have a fourth principal part. To not want. Okay, and this is the present tense again. It's extremely irregular. Nolo, I don't want. Non vis, yes, 2 words. You don't want. Non volt, again, 2 words. He, she, or it doesn't want. Nolimus, we don't want. Oops, that's supposed to be an N, excuse me. Non voltus, you all don't want. And then nolunt, they don't want. Okay. So 3 of them are 1 word. 3 of them are just taking the form of vis, volt, voltus, the form of wolo, and adding a known, like you would normally for negatives. This word can also be to not be willing or to be unwilling. So you may find that that works better in some ways. Imperfect tense is going to look really similar to wolabom. You just change the V to an N. So nolabom, nolabas, nolaba, nolabamas, nolabatis, nolabant. I was not wanting, you were not wanting, he was not wanting, we were not wanting, y'all were not wanting, they were not wanting. Okay. And now we're going to move down to infinitives. Infinitives are so much fun. They're pretty easy. You just have to learn the word infinitive. Usually, except for our irregular verbs, if it's a verb that ends in RE, it's the infinitive. That's the short answer. So let's go back though a little bit. Conjugations are verb families, groups of verbs, okay? The infinitive form of the verb indicates to which conjugation or family the verb belongs. So, first conjugation verbs end in ARE. Second conjugation verbs end in ERE with the macron. Third, ERE without the macron. And fourth, IRE. It usually has the macron, but it's not essential because there's nothing else to try to distinguish it from. So, examples, e.g. exempli gratia, it's a Latin abbreviation. You have words like laudare, to praise, docere, to teach, ducere, to lead, and audire, to hear or to listen to. Okay, so complementary infinitives are our next topic. Complementary infinitives are infinitive verbs that are used with a main verb that needs the infinitive to complete its meaning. What do I mean? Well, turn to the next page. The following verbs are all often used with complementary infinitives. They don't have to be, but they often are. You might just want food, but you also might want to eat dinner. To eat being the infinitive. So I want, be able, and not want are also often used with infinitives. Eubeo, the word I order, and all of its forms are often used with infinitives as well. Okay, so eubeo, I order, and dokeo, I teach, you'll also see being used with infinitives to help complete the meaning. What are you teaching someone to do? What are you ordering someone to do? You'll have to use the infinitive there. So I've given you 5 examples, sentences, using the 5 different verbs that we're likely to see complementary infinitives with. The first 3 are pretty regular looking. Eubeo and dokeo is going to add a little something extra, so stay awake till the end here. Mateus dormire vult. Mateus vult is your main verb, wants, dormire, to sleep. Okay? So your main verb is vult because it's the verb that's has the personal ending. And the infinitive is completing the meaning of the verb. It's adding on that additional information of what he wants to do. So dormire is to sleep. Ego librum legere nolo, I don't want to read a book. Remember, accusative is going to have to come after a verb. It's your direct object. In this case, it's direct object. It can also be used in other ways. But for our purposes here, it's our direct object, and it's going to come after our verb. So, ego I, nolo I don't want. So I don't want, legere to read, and librum a book, or the book. It's up to you in this case. The main verb is nolo, because that has a personal ending. It was for I. The infinitive is legere, because that is your RE, and it's called a complementary infinitive because it's completing the meaning of nolo. Gladiatores, viros, vulnerare, possum. Look, it's a new vocab word. Check it out if you haven't. All right? Gladiatores, the gladiators. Possunt, are able. Vulnerare, to wound. Viros, men. Okay, viros, os is again accusative. It's accusative plural, second declension. It is our direct object, so it has to come after your verb. Your main verb, possunt, and your complementary infinitive, vulnerare. Okay. Two more. Salvius servum laborare ubet. These are the ones they say are a little bit different. You have to think a little bit harder on these. Okay? So it's still salvius, and you have a T ending, so this verb and salvius, they have to go together. So salvius orders, ubet is orders. All right, but who is he ordering? That's your direct object. He's ordering the servum. He's ordering the slave. So he orders the slave. Now, laborare completes that meaning of what is he ordering the slave to do. He's ordering the slave, laborare, to work. Okay? Your main verb, ubet, goes with its subject, salvius, and laborare is the infinitive. Okay? Docet works in a similar way. It's going to look very similar in how it's working. Magistra discipulos lingua latina scribere docet. Magistra is your nominative subject. It's going to go with the T ending on the verb, so these two words need to go together. The teacher teaches. The teacher teaches. Well, who's the teacher teaching? That's your accusative case word. Accusative direct object, discipulos, the students. What's the teacher teaching the students to do? That's your infinitive. Scribere, to write, and now I'm sure you know what they're learning to write in. In the Latin language, we'll shorten that to in Latin. Okay? So your main verb is the one that goes with your subject. Docet. Your infinitive, your complementary infinitive, is scribere. Right? And you're all done. Finis.